Notre Dame football came away with a massive 27-17 victory over the Indiana Hoosiers, earning their way to the second round of the college football playoff against the Georgia Bulldogs on New Year's Day. But it did not come with no cost. It was announced Notre Dame had a huge loss. Rylie Mills officially out for the rest of the year. Where does Notre Dame go from here? Let's talk about it next. Ryan Roberts, A to Z Sports, breaking down everything Notre Dame football. Folks, if you watched my last video, you know I'm a little bit still recovering from this last week's game against the Indiana Hoosiers. Voice is still coming back a little bit, so please just bear with me on this one. Promise we'll get on the mend here soon, but had to talk about the unfortunate news that came on Monday during head coach Marcus Freeman's press conference when it was officially announced that defensive tackle Rylie Mills will be lost for the rest of the playoffs and will, in effect, be ending his Notre Dame career. Senior defensive tackle, 6'5", 295 pounds, out of the state of Illinois, obviously, who has been a tremendous part of this defensive line now for multiple years, originally beginning his career the first couple years as a strong side defensive end, eventually moving inside. And this year, early in the year, if you remember, Rylie Mills got off to a little bit of a slow start, but he really started getting into gear. And then when Howard Cross got injured, definitely later into the season, Rylie Mills became arguably the best player on this defense overall. 37 total tackles, but 9 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks. Both of those numbers, tackle for loss and sack numbers, were tops on the team through 13 games now into this season, and was a big reason why Notre Dame is sitting at 12-1 on this year. This is a massive blow. There's no other way to put this one. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Rylie Mills was playing tremendous football, but you have your future in front of you still. You still have a playoff run in front of you. You have a Georgia team down in New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl that is very beatable. So Notre Dame still has a path. So the question is, how do you sustain this blow, and how do you supplement the production, and how do you continue moving forward? I think the first place that you start with, that I think is a little bit of a blessing here, is that we did see against Indiana, although in a pretty brief amount of snaps, we saw the return of Howard Cross III, of course, your All-American defensive tackle coming into the season. Now, he was playing really good football himself, but unfortunately had to miss the final 3 games of the season with an ankle injury. He returned against Indiana. Like I said, he didn't make a tremendous amount of plays. He did have a batted down pass during the game, but him back, I do think, is a big thing for Notre Dame. I can envision him not just playing nose, but maybe sliding over to 3-tech at times to kind of mess with a couple different alterations of a defensive line, a couple different pairings to be able to supplement the loss of Rylie Mills. I could definitely see that in the works with the Howard Cross. Other than that, the 2 big defensive tackles that you'll see inside, one is Donovan Heinisch, who is in more of the mold of Howard Cross, an undersized guy, about 6'3", 280 pounds, that is more first step quickness, closing speed, movement skills than he is physicality. So you're going to have to figure out how to mix and match those players together. But he was very productive when Howard Cross went down. He ended up with 3.5 sacks on the season. So you're going to have to see more 41, Donovan Heinisch making some plays. And the other guy, which I think is more the interesting player in my opinion in this scenario, is Gabriel Rubio. Now, Gabriel Rubio has played a lot of 3-tech despite being 6'5" and over 300 pounds. I could see, though, now if they wanted to utilize Howard Cross in more of a 3-tech, that occupied 3-tech, now that with Rylie Mills out, I could see a guy like Gabriel Rubio playing a little bit more nose with his natural size that he brings to the table. Maybe we see more Gabriel Rubio and Howard Cross on the field at times. I think that is super interesting. Other than that, you're going to have to find a guy or 2 that can supplement just some reps. Those are going to be the 3 mainstays on the defensive line. But can you get a player like an Armel Mukum to give you some reps? Is a Sean Sevillano able to maybe come in, even though he hasn't played much this year? I don't think that that's a route they'll necessarily go, but I do look for Mukum, number 88, to maybe give you a little bit of some reps. So I think that the key here is Howard Cross returning could cushion this blow to a degree, but you're going to need guys like Gabriel Rubio and Donovan Heinisch to continue to step up and play great football. Folks, regardless, we'll be covering it all the way up to the Georgia game and hopefully well beyond that. Make sure you comment below. What are your feelings on the Rylie Mills injury? How do you think Notre Dame is going to go from here? Want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, you know the drill. Win, lose, or draw. Go Irish.